Our current government shutdown is now the longest in history. But what does previous government shutdowns tell us about Bitcoin's price when the shutdown ends? Because are you ready for some wild stuff? Because in 2019, during the last government shutdown, Bitcoin dropped 20%, but then rallied at 300% in the next few months. Now in 2025, we have another shutdown, and Bitcoin has also fallen about 20%. We might be seeing the same pattern forming now. Now, the major effect of the government shutdown on Bitcoin's price is going to be regarding Bitcoin liquidity. Bitcoin liquidity has been heavily affected by this government shutdown. And after we talk about liquidity, we'll look at this current government shutdown effects on Bitcoin and compare it to the last government shutdown because the charts went wild after this. But back to the why and the how of this government shutdown. Now, one of the main reasons that people are saying Bitcoin fell 19% is the government shutdown has drained $700 billion from the markets through the Treasury General Account. The TGA has swelled to $1 trillion during this government shutdown. And if you don't know what the Treasury General Account is, this just means it is a cash account maintained by the Department of Treasury. It is essentially the government's checking account. And it has a deep effect on the money floating in the system. Now, you can see on the right, dollars held by the Fed. A major portion is this Treasury General Account, but when money is trapped in this TGA, that means there is not money that is acting as currency in circulation, nor is it acting as banking cash. So when this shutdown ends, we can expect to see spending from this $1 trillion TGA. But we're not saying 1% of this cash will be released or 2% of this cash. We're suggesting 70% of this 1 trillion might be released. This will be a floodgates of cash that is entering the system, which is needed because so much is unavailable for lending or investment. So analysts are expecting a strong relief rally off of this move. But now let's look at the charts. Now we just have two previous instances that we're going to be looking at. One of the reasons is, we had a shutdown in 1996, we had a shutdown in 1995, and we had some other short shutdowns, 16 hours here. But really, we only have two other shutdowns that are similar to this one. There's the one that lasted 16 days in 2013, and there's the one that lasted 35 days, ending in 2019. So starting with the one ending in 2019, you can see it was a 20% decline, 19.25%. We ended up seeing Bitcoin shedding that much from its market cap. But then there was a lot of volatility in the immediate aftermath, kind of chopped, kind of ranged for a bit. But then Bitcoin would go on a huge rally, and you can see it once we zoom out. This is a pump of 320%. And we're at 36 days so far, and if you look, it's very similar. We had a drop of about 20%. Some people are saying it is unfair to compare this shutdown to the previous shutdown because of where that was in the 4-year cycle. Right now, we just seen Bitcoin hit a previous all-time high, while the previous government shutdown was coming at the end of a bear market. So it's not much of a surprise for Bitcoin to pump after Bitcoin had been falling for 12 months. I want to give a quick shout out to LBank exchange. It is my favorite exchange to start trading all of the hottest meme coins and all of the latest altcoins. And over at LBank, you can do spot trading or you can do futures perpetuals trading, and we're going to have a link down below as well as tutorial on the top of our YouTube page. There are tons of features here on LBank. They have 24/7 customer support, tons of volume, millions of customers, and they're serving over 200 countries. So go ahead, open up an account, deposit some funds, and start your trading journey. But the other government shutdown did happen when Bitcoin was in a bullish environment. So let's look at that chart. Now, this government shutdown in 2013 happened after Bitcoin had started pumping. You can see it right here. This is about 2 months of price action, 58 days. Bitcoin had pumped 122%. And then we go into a government shutdown, and then Bitcoin would continue to pump. You caught the bottom, you're looking at a 900% return. Now, am I expecting a 2013 style rally after the government shutdown ends? I would caution, and I think this is going to look a lot more like 2019, not 2013. I think a lot of people are expecting that 700 billion of liquidity to instantly pump Bitcoin. I think that's what people expected right here. You can see right when the government shutdown ended, we had a pretty significant green day with a very large wick, which means, people were feeling really bullish. They were feeling really bullish. But then shortly thereafter, Bitcoin would take a little bit of a tumble. Bitcoin would then fall about another 10%. And really, if you zoom out, you can see that it took 66 days for Bitcoin to finally make a move and then break out of this range that it was stuck in and then resume the uptrend. And so we don't know when this government shutdown is going to end exactly, but I would expect at least 14, maybe 30 days of some some choppy action before Bitcoin can resume pumping. And as we let this Treasury General Accounts cash wash through the system, it's not going to happen immediately. $700 billion. It's going to take a while for these Plinko balls to trickle down into the Bitcoin markets. So I'm DZ for Discover Crypto, and hopefully my government doesn't shut down forever, and eventually see you at the top.